It is Friday morning, March 12th, the 21st day of the season of Lent, and today things get real because we're going to talk about the real purpose of the testing that we've been going through the whole season of Lent. We're going to find the real reason out today. I mean, this is going to be so good. We're definitely needing our coffee today for this one. It comes to us from the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 3. In Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1 and 2 tells us exactly the purpose of this chapter. It says, there is an appointed time for everything, and there is a time for every event under heaven. A time to give birth and a time to die. A time to plant, time to uproot what is planted. And the reason I wanted to start off with that for you is to realize that Ecclesiastes chapter 3 is talking about there is an appointed time for everything. And the very first thing that we hear about is the appointed time for your birth and the appointed time for your death. But chapter 3 emphasizes death. It emphasizes that specific time, the time of our death. So let's pick up reading it at verse 17. I said to myself, God will judge both the righteous man and the wicked man. For a time for every matter and for every deed is there. I said to myself concerning the sons of men, God has surely tested them in order for them to see that they are but beasts. For the fate of the sons of men and the fate of beasts is the same. As one dies, so dies the other. Indeed, they all have the same breath, and there is no advantage for man over beast, for all is vanity. All go to the same place. All came from the dust, and all return to the dust. Now, I told you this is the turning point. Yesterday we got to the top of the hill, and now it is all downhill until we get to Resurrection Sunday. This is important. This is the equivalent of Jesus in Matthew chapter 16, verse 21. Because from that moment on, Jesus began to tell his disciples that he had to go to Jerusalem and suffer many things by the hands of the Pharisees and the elders and the scribes, that he was going to die, and on the third day he would raise to life again. They didn't understand it, but it was important for them to realize that all this testing was to show us that we are just mortals, that we are going to die. Dying is a reality. Dying is a reality. Yesterday, the whole world recognized the one-year anniversary of the World Health Organization declaring the coronavirus a worldwide pandemic. And what this has done, it has shown the world that we are mortal, that we're going to die, that dying is a reality. So there were two things that I want to share with you about this. The first is this: if our mortality is a reality, if our death is a reality, then we need to make things right. We need to do whatever we can to make things right with God and with other people, because tomorrow is not guaranteed. Our life is very vulnerable. There is an appointed time for life, for birth, and for death. And the emphasis is our appointed time for death. There's going to be a time where God will judge the wicked and the righteous. And so whatever we do, we need to understand that we need to get things right with God and with man. The second part, and I think this is the most important part, is until we understand the reality of our mortality, that we are going to die, then we'll never really comprehend the magnitude and the power of the resurrection of Jesus Christ. In Hebrews chapter 2, verse 14, it says, because the children have flesh and bone, that he too partook in our flesh, so that he could put to death, right? By his death, he could declare powerless him who had power over death, and that is Satan. In Revelation chapter 1, And I'm thinking it's verse 18. Revelation chapter 1, verse 18. Jesus says, and I am the living one. I was dead, but behold, I am alive forevermore, and I hold the keys of death and Hades. This is so important. We're on that turning point. And we're not going to understand everything that happens from here on out, but it's important for us to realize the reality of death, the reality of the mortality. And that's the turning point. Jesus declares from that point on, Jesus declared to his disciples, listen, we're going to Jerusalem. I'm going to suffer many things at the hands of the chief priests, the elders, the Pharisees. I'm going to die, but on the third day I will raise to life again. Peter didn't understand that. And he rebuked Jesus, and Jesus turned around and said, get behind me, Satan, for you have in mind the things of man and not the things of God. I want you to realize that God is doing something special. There's an appointed time, but the appointed time that we need to realize is our mortality. So these tests are reminding us just that we're human. And because we're human, well, there's death that is involved. But thanks be to God for the resurrection of Jesus Christ, because he's the first fruit. And because of Jesus, we realize that death no longer has a victory. Death no longer has sting. Thank you guys so much for watching today. We're heading downhill now. Pray y'all have a blessed day.